The Early Years of Film by Patrick James Jenks. The first video camera. Thomas Edison invented the very first video camera known as the kinetograph. This early innovation used celluloid film. Invented in 1891, Thomas Edison made arguably the most crucial invention for the world of film, or television. The kinetograph used celluloid film, invented by Hannibal Goodwin in 1887. This camera alone was the building blocks for the cameras we use in this day and age, most notably the IMAX cameras, which many feature films use, like the Dark Knight movies. Those used IMAX cameras, very expensive cameras, but they would not be around if not because of the kinetograph. Earliest silent film. The earliest silent film is Roundhay Garden Scene, made in 1888. This was the earliest silent film ever made, and it is the earliest surviving silent film, being as many films around this time were burnt because they were all stored in a building that lit on fire. This silent film was created by Louis Le Prince. It is only 2 seconds long, but its impact on the art that is television and film was huge. And I think thanks to that movie, we wouldn't have we just wouldn't have quite the understanding, and we'd be almost behind. Anyway, Roundhay Garden Scene, earliest silent film. Famous actors in film. Some of the earliest actors include Charlie Chaplin, Lillian Gish, Douglas Fairbanks, Greta Garbo, and Mary Pickford. These 5 actors and actresses were incredibly crucial in just the art of acting. Most notably, Charlie Chaplin, who was famous for his physical humor. Without him, there wouldn't be Mr. Bean, there wouldn't be Jim Carrey. So just Charlie Chaplin alone, there's so much now that wouldn't be here without him. Directors. Going back to Charlie Chaplin directed many movies, such as The Immigrant, City Lights, The Great Dictator. However, he said in an interview, D.W. Griffith was the teacher of us all. I include that because D.W. Griffith was one of the most important directors in the history of film. I say that because he had arguably some of the most successful movies in that time, and his movies had good stories. And without his presence in the past of film, I don't think movies would be in as much depth as they are today. And in my opinion, I think that movies without depth just wouldn't be as good. So I think thanks to D.W. Griffith, movies nowadays are just way more story-driven, if that makes sense. People inspired by D.W. Griffith include Charlie Chaplin, Douglas Fairbanks, and many other directors and actors, not only then, but now. Intertitles. Intertitles were very important for silent films because they would express dialogue and ultimately express a story behind the movie or show. I think this was not only important then but now, because without the intertitles in silent films, I don't think dialogue would be as important in films now, just because stories were so important then to express a story that if they hadn't used intertitles, I don't think the story in movies today they just wouldn't be as good, you know. Similar to like what D.W. Griffith did to movies, he just added more story to them, and I think intertitles do the same. They just add more dialogue. They add more. The movie itself feels more human. Introducing sound to film. The kinetoscope, created in 1877, Edison originally called it the phonograph. A few years later, however, Alexander Graham Bell, known for inventing the telephone, worked on it some more and called it the kinetoscope. The kinetoscope was very, very important in film because it allowed for the actors to be recorded. And similar to what I'm doing now, they would use that recorded sound, copy it, and then play it with the movies in the theaters. I say it's similar to what I'm doing because right now I'm recording myself on my phone, and then I'm filming on my computer, and then I'm going to go into iMovie and hope it doesn't unsave like my actual video, and just clip it all together. And let there be color. There was many ways of coloring your film. The easiest was tinting. Tinting was just dyeing your film, and you just do this by putting it in a tub of dye. Pretty self-explanatory. Then there was toning, which is more intensive because you had to chemically color the film, which took a decently long window of time. And then there was another technique that you could have used to color your film, which was way more intensive because you had to go through the film and color piece for piece. Like in this slide, look at the woman's hat in the very left. Someone would have to go in there and color it red, and then they'd have to paint her shirt purple, and then they'd have to touch her skin or paint her skin, and maybe make it more like closer to a whitish or a tannish color. It was very intensive because not only were you just dyeing or anything, you'd actually have to go in and paint whatever clothes they were wearing. Anyway, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the history behind film and the inventions that ultimately made film what it is now. I'm sorry I couldn't send my actual video and stuff. That was not a fun thing to find out just because I spent so much time on it, but I hope you enjoyed my presentation. I apologize if it felt a little rushed, and have a good day.